Funny face in 5.
Oh, we're live. All right. We don't have our names up.
Oh, sorry. I'm just falling down on the job today.
All
My
right.
name is Judah Buddha, and I'm here with the illustrious. I'm going to change our. There we got to get it. Okay. The illustrious Arthur Spooner. I almost said your real name. People are going to know your real name.
Yeah,
And
all our viewer will stalk me.
hey, you don't know. That might be your neighbor. So.
It's probably my mom. Hey, Mom.
All right. Well, how are you doing today, bud? We didn't
Doing
meet
well.
last week.
Yeah, happy 4th to everybody. I went with a celebrating our country's history with all the sacrifice that Americans have made, and you went with a different way.
I went with the chicken foot. I went with
You
the chicken
You
foot.
went a different way with it. I was
You
celebrating our
made
country.
this.
All right. You have a joke?
Yeah. Okay. So joke time. Let me put up the banner. Is it okay if I don't put up the banner? Yeah.
Hey, Lucio.
Oh, we got somebody in the. Luciano Medellin. Hey, buddy. Good to see you on. Okay, so here's my joke. Maybe somebody has heard it. It's not a new joke, but I laughed so hard at this that I wanted to share. Okay, so there's an Englishman and an Irishman that walk into a bakery, and the Englishman says, "Hey, watch this," and he grabs 3 buns and puts them in his pocket. Says, "Let's get out of here." Well, the Irishman says, "Hey, the owner probably didn't see you, but I've got a better way. It's actually legal, and just watch. It's not thievery." So he says, "Okay, I'm curious. What are you gonna do?" So the Irishman walks over to the counter and says, "Hey, baker, come here. And the baker comes over and says, "Hey, baker, I want to show you a magic trick." And the Englishman's watching, like, "Okay, what's he doing?" And the baker's like, "Okay, show me a magic trick." He's like, "Okay, give me a bun." The baker gives him a bun, eats it. Says, "Okay." And the baker's like, "Okay." And the Irishman says, "Give me another bun." Eats it. "Give me another bun." Eats it. The baker says, "Okay, what's the deal here? Where did they go? What's the magic?" And the Irishman says, "Check the Englishman's pocket."
That's pretty good. Because the baker's always concerned about it is a whole lot of dough. All right. So let's get started. There's probably our viewers are probably well aware, it's spreading like wildfire on the internet, that we are currently in a legal battle with the podcast with Whitey Tighties. Judah had said some disparaging things about Whitey Tighties. They didn't appreciate it. We are currently being sued. Now, I personally support Whitey Tighties, and they support me. So, just FYI that's going on out there.
That's gross. You used to wear whitey tighties?
So, but I was able to secure another ad. This one, they went all out on this ad. So this one is a video ad, and I just have to kind of read a little script that they gave us. So let's go ahead and start the ad.
What?
The French press. Pour a little on the table. Do you enjoy a nice cup of coffee? Are you from the 1800s? Does electricity scare you? Do you like to churn butter? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then you too would like the French press. You can both make your coffee and be pretentious at the same time. And make sure you pour a little bit of coffee on the table as well. And each fresh press coffee comes with its own toilet plunger.
What?
And if you don't have a toilet plunger, you can use your own toilet plunger. And don't forget, when you're pouring it on, get a little on the table. Doesn't it look delicious out of a dirty milk carton? Don't forget the whiskey. It's a rough day at work. Now, how does that taste? Oh. So, well, that's our new ad, the French press.
We lost all our viewers there. That was good.
All right.
That was good.
Now, people may not know that, as you can tell, that's an old Judah video, and the French press people appreciated it, and so they are now sponsoring our podcast.
Dude, you got me laughing so much the back of my neck hurts.
All right. So
I was wondering what you were gonna do, you rascal.
All right. Well, that's just the beginning. I took this podcast, so this one is all on me. If it fails, it's my fault. If it passes, it's on me. You know, Judah didn't do anything. He's just sitting there, jerk. So thanks for doing all the work. So what I decided to do is, you know, I've been struggling to get ads and all that kind of stuff, and it made me think, you know, sometimes we get some funny ones, right? But there's some also mistakenly funny ads that come out in the paper, on news and stuff. So I'm going to show a few of those funny ads. And Judah is unaware of any of these ads, so or any of these articles or news lines, and so we are just going to show them. So, but one thing about the Chickenfoot podcast is that we take crime very seriously, right here. So, just so you know, this crack cocaine dealer has been jailed. Granny Goodness. Can you see that?
Yes.
So the crack cocaine dealer is jailed. This old lady,
Yeah.
she is known as Granny Goodness. Pretty rough. All right. All right. Now, like I said before, we take crime very seriously here. And this next one is very serious.
Let's hope so.
So, man is arrested after cops spot suspiciously small package in his undies. Now, if he was wearing whitey tighties, it would kind of bolster it up a little bit. You wouldn't have this problem, but
Was this you? Be honest.
no, it wasn't. 'Cause, I wear whitey tighties. All right. You know, when I was a kid, I was very competitive. I don't know if you were when you were a kid.
Yeah, it's competitive, yeah.
Yeah, I was very competitive. So I was always trying to win or be the best at something. And this kid turned out to be the best. And so, unfortunately, it kind of worked against him. So, tragedy, his body of hide and seek world champion is found in the cupboard.
What? Was he dead?
Yeah. This poor guy was so good that he died and nobody could find him. Is that crickets? Oh, we lost our viewer. All right.
It looks like you. That looked like you when you had the mustache.
Yeah, that's true.
Are these all articles about you? I'm starting to get a little suspicious.
Might be. They might be. Speaking of competitive, fun fact, Chuck E. Cheese, when they first started, they actually used real gold for their coins. And so, whoops, that's the wrong one. Good thing nobody's watching.
Luciano left us.
Yeah. So Chuck E. Cheese used to use real gold in their coins, but they had to stop because in the end, this 53-year-old man was arrested after kicking a 6-year-old girl's because she picked up his Chuck E. Cheese tokens. So
wait, he kicked her what?
He kicked her and he assaulted her. So that's why they had to stop. That's why they had to stop. All right. On a roll. 11 minutes in. So if you thought this was going fast, it isn't.
Not for Joseph.
This is the most stressful podcast I ever had. It's getting hot in here. All right. Let's see what's next.
Let's see.
The great thing about kids is they're very honest. Yeah. Kids are very honest. And this one kid was both honest and brave. So, in this 4th of July weekend, why we're honoring all these brave people, this Waterford boy, 8, saves his sister's life.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And they even have a quote from him. It says, I wouldn't do it again. She's been in pain all week. So, like I said, he is both brave and honest. Brave and honest. Now, I know that when we used to live together, when it was me, you, and Chanda, and anytime something goes wrong, you'd always get blamed. Blamed for everything, right? Some people, whoops, that's not it. That's not the right one. That's not the right one. Some people that's why it switches. It's like it's rotating and putting it at the top of the list and the bottom of the list. This guy, he gets arrested for everything. So I'm sure you can sympathize with that one. All right, we got our viewer back. Just in time. We're grinding through these these headlines. Now, part of what inspired me is we received an email from our viewer who said last week, because we weren't able to show last week, personal issues came up. We weren't able to go live last week. So they emailed us and they said, could you do a podcast about things that aren't funny? So I took the reins on this one. All right. But like I said, here in Chicago, crime is kind of out of control. Yeah. So if you can keep an eye out for these suspects, these violent crime duo, they've been caught on video. If you see them in your neighborhood, please report them. Please report them.
Is that Pooh?
Yeah.
Man, hasn't been going well for him, I guess.
Yeah, he's pooped out.
Poo, not poop.
Oh, okay, okay.
Is that it? Are we
No,
done?
no, no. I got some more. I got some more.
Oh, okay.
Simmer down, simmer down. We got 5 minutes of story time. Don't push me. I'm already under enough stress.
Okay.
I mean, the fans are just they're loving it.
Hey, David.
They're
Good to see
getting
you.
it. All right, now this
Hold
next
on, David. It gets
article.
better.
All right,
Maybe.
this next article I'm going to show.
Okay.
If you are writing this article, you know what? You're just stuck. There's no matter what it is, no matter how you try to word it, it's still going to come out bad.
Okay.
It's still going to come out bad.
Okay. We gonna get an article?
Hooker named layperson of the year. So apparently this lady's name is Hooker, and she was given the layperson of the year.
Apparently, this is what I was blamed for.
So that's a good one, right?
It's more funny because it came up earlier.
Now, some headlines, they speak for themselves.
Okay.
I don't really. They don't really need any introduction. Woman in sumo wrestling suit assaulted by ex-girlfriend in gay pub after she waved at man dressed as a Snickers bar.
What?
So that, I mean, pretty much tells the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey!
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Now the pressure's really on.
Hey,
right.
Mama Rhodes.
Now, I don't know if you ever watched Miss Universe.
I mean, the show or the woman?
The pageant.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they have to do talent. There's swimsuit competition. They've got to, questions, answers, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that is a tough gig. It's a lot of work. These girls put a lot of work into it.
I suppose. Yeah.
I'm not sure what you have to do for this title. Puerto Rican teen named Mistress of the Universe. I'm not sure what you have to do for that title, but I'm sure it's just as much work.
Maybe she's like He-Man, She-Ra, Mistress of the Universe.
That's Masters.
Yeah.
You're really dropping the ball on this one, Judah. All right. Well, one thing Judah really loves is government intervention. And,
there we
go. We don't like to talk politics here, but this is a perfect example of how efficient government is. So a committee appoints a committee to appoint a committee.
Oh.
So
a committee appoints a committee to appoint a committee. That's...
Yeah.
I have to laugh because it's so sad.
All right. Now, I don't know whether you know this, but in England, there's a type of birds, and they're called tits. And that's not a joke. That's serious.
Okay.
See, these birds are tits. And I'm a big fan of tits. I watch tits all the time. I don't know if Judah does, but I do. That being said, in England they had some issues with that.
I can only imagine.
So tits bouncing back in a warmer weather. Tits had a rough season in the winter, so now they're coming back, and tits are in. Tits are in. So if you have tits, then you're in. You're part of the in crowd.
Bouncing back.
Bouncing back.
Bouncing birds, I guess.
Have you ever read Where magazine? WHERE?
I have not.
Okay. Well, they didn't last very long, partly because they had mistakes like this.
Shades of wine? Or
They really placement is everywhere. Location, location, location. Everybody knows that.
Placement is everywhere.
Yeah. Speaking of placement. So you have an ad here for underwear, and apparently all these women are really surprised by the ad. So I don't know who approved that one.
Placement is everywhere, man.
All right.
That's good.
So
Oh, wow.
that was my show.
Okay.
And it was both terribly horrible and hilarious at the same time.
I loved it. So what was it like? How long did you prepare that, by the way? All those.
It took me hours to sit down and actually find them and actually go through the good ones. I had to weed out the bad ones. So I had to weed out all these bad ones. Then I had to organize them, and then I had to try to, have some sort of like introduction to them and some sort of commentary.
What is
in the rubber room?
I don't get it.
In the crazy.
Oh.
You just thought.
My,
We'll just move on. I know what you thought.
I was thinking about the birds.
Yeah. Bouncing back. All right.
Oh, well, I have a funny story I forgot from last week.
Let's play the introduction to our next segment.
Oh, funny story. Oh, shoot. So now it's time for... It's time for stories.
Hey, stories.
All right. Last week, you got to tell some funny family stories and stories about your father. I forgot the classic. Actually, I remembered it right as we ended. The classic story about my dad. Whoa, hit the wrong one.
And also my mom. So
what?
My mom, was talking about her too. But anyways, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Your dad.
But it was Father's Day, and so I wanted to tell a story. The funniest story in our family, even though like looking back on it, I wanted to tell it, but I'm not really. I don't know if hearing it will be that funny. But so the story is about my father. We were at my grandparents' house, and we were all at the table and we were eating supper. My grandparents actually, they had a engagement they had to go to. So it was just our family. We were sitting around the table. My mom had made spaghetti, and we sit down to the table, and we usually pray before the meal. We pray, and then we're all about to eat, and my dad says, okay, does anybody want spaghetti on that? And all of us look at our plates, and the plate has spaghetti on it, and he looks at my sister and says, do you want spaghetti on that? And she looks at my mom, she looks at me and my brothers, and she's like, what? And he's like, do you want spaghetti on that? And all of us are like, this is weird. And my dad's like, look, I know it's kind of weird, but I like it. And they're like, what? We were like, what? He's like, he's starting to get really angry at this point, because we're like, he's like, do you want spaghetti on your spaghetti? Oh. And to top it off, he held up the ketchup bottle and said, I meant ketchup. And that made it even weirder for us, because we're like, why the heck would you put ketchup on the spaghetti? And so he explained afterwards that he was going to introduce, like, he kind of had this thing where he realized that putting ketchup on his spaghetti, I almost did it just there. And putting ketchup on his spaghetti, he had liked it. And so he was going to, like, introduce this idea to put ketchup on the spaghetti, but somehow in the stress of asking us, he just said, "Do you want spaghetti on your spaghetti?" And we were just like, okay, we'll move on. So now anytime we have spaghetti, you know, for a meal, we're like, "Hey, Dad, do you want some spaghetti on that?"
Make it a double.
So, like, while it was going on, we seriously looked at each other like, okay, it's happening.
What's happening?
Dad's losing his mind. But then the real thing was that he was going to put ketchup on the spaghetti, and then we really thought he was losing his mind. But even to this day,
I've never heard of that.
We were like, no, thank you. And actually, we've never tried it. Maybe it's good.
No, that reminded me of a story.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember this, but so when we were graduating from Toccoa Falls, you and I decided that we were going to both take our families together to go eat.
Oh, yeah.
Do you remember that?
I do,
and,
yeah.
And so we all went to go eat. And so my family, my mom, my dad, and my brother were there. And obviously me, and then you, your two sisters, your brother, your dad, and your mom were there. So it was a big table. And different families, different culture, you know?
Yeah.
And so the first thing your dad does when we get the food is, let's pray. And then everybody starts singing in French. Like, man, the bag of meat, and my family's like, what the hell is going on here? And so we're just like, okay, like, croissants, French toast, fryer.
What?
So you guys were doing some sort of prayer and you were singing in French. And so we were like, okay. So then the dinner goes on, and my mom says, my brother and my dad were like kind of razzing her a little bit. And so she goes, "You son of a bitch," which, by the way, if you're offended to cursing, so you might want to step away on this one. She's like, "You son of a bitch." And then my dad and brother go, "Whoa, sinner over here." And all your family's down there. And no, you guys didn't hear what was going on. So you guys just kind of look over it. And my mom was embarrassed. And so later on, do you remember this?
No, I do not.
So later on, when we get back to the hotel, my mom, you know, she comes to me, she says, "Look, I'm sorry if I embarrassed you in front of your friends and his family for swearing." I said, "Mom, it doesn't matter. They swear all the time." And then my dad goes, "Well, fucking hell, man. I wish I knew that shit. I didn't even fucking and cursing and shit."
What were we singing?
I don't know. Your family, you guys were singing in French, like a prayer or something. It's like a normal thing you guys had done because everyone knew the words and it was in French. It wasn't English and nobody had a flyer and they weren't reading the hymnals. So you guys were singing something. Was
it c'est à ton tour de te laisser parler d'amour?
That's probably it.
Well, was it somebody's birthday? That's a birthday song we sing in French.
I don't know. Well, you sang something in French. Was it somebody's birthday being celebrated during your graduation?
I don't know. I'm confused.
I don't know.
That's a good story.
Yeah.
Because the whole time I was like, clashing of the worlds, you know, like, this is weird. You know, your family was there, my family was there. It's like, hey, you know, I wanted them to like each other.
But everybody sat like, it's just like our screen.
Yeah.
Your family's on one side, my family's on the other side, and then it was like we were in our two different conversations. So, all right, well, that was our show.
Well,
It was
before we
probably
go,
one of the best ones we've ever had.
I I liked it. No, all right, let me give the review though. Okay, before we go, let me give the review. First of all, I crap. I always forget.